what's up? It's the work, right? Like there is not much that needs to happen. Do I need to close you to? Good question. I don't think so. I will say that no, I don't. Probably. Let me see. How are we doing? The CPU is low, so okay. I mean, I I want to have anything open anyway. So does it actually matter? That sense? No. Uh, ah, I remember what's the thing that I forgot to check is okay. I can see that. Uh, which page are we in? I one. Wait. Anyway, here we are. Good, good evening. Uh, what am I missing? I know I'm missing something. That's like the basic thing, but yeah, the page 515 and 73. Yeah, both the seven. What? Council 163. The divine Suryadeva, the destroyer of darkness, also moves unfettered on his path. But we left here, or I left about to start this one. I oh my god, I think how to start is complicated. I Sampayana continue. What are they talking about? Agastya, Rakshasas, honor. This is about the discussion that uh, Parantapas had with Kubera, and yeah. Kubera, and after that, what's this Kanto? What was this one about? um, I know I read it. I know I was there. I was present somehow. What was this one about? I even typed the wrong page when I saved this. Um, Menu was suspicious. Yeah, next to Rama's dwelling, you can see neither Maharishis nor Brahmarishis have access to this place. Yatis, sun, the rays of light cannot shine. Shines, yeah. The sun god who dispels darkness revolves around Sumeru, obscuring outer light, giving how how come I don't really remember this last canto? Did I not read it? That's what happened? Probably. Uh, no. I'm pretty sure I sort of wrote this one. Yeah? This, okay, the context is that they have to fight with the, is it, with the Rakshas and whatnot, and after that, they are, this is when they get calm, when they get to have calmness, basically. Yeah, but isn't after that like a war? I remember I left around something like a war about to happen. Did I not type the type? Did I not get on the proper page? Uh, Summit, Heroes at Raya, yeah, it's magnificence. Am I wrong? Did I type again to the same page? Will I have to actually check? Oh man, let me. I'm pretty sure I already read it. No, because this is a new canto, so I cannot have read something like this. Uh, Indra's chariot, yoked to horses as bright as lightning, suddenly arrived. Yeah, I am pretty sure I already read this stuff. Am I going crazy? Ah, no, wait. This is the arrival of Arjuna. Ah, okay, okay, okay. I have to say sorry. I am like, I don't know what the fuck am I so lost in my own reading, but this is after Kubera. The context is so far. Lord Kubera comes to meet the Parantapas. At first there was the killing. Secondly, Kubera comes. He sees that it is what's the Parantapas in general, the good guys, or the Pandavas, that's their proper name. The Pandavas, which are basically the good guys, after that they meet, and even though the main Pandava says bad stuff, or those bad actions, this whole narrative of, oh yeah, yeah, this guy gets their actions, his actions justified because destiny and pre predestined events that will happen. So yeah, I I sort of remember that now. And after that, they just had to wait for Arjuna. That's what was happening right now, I think. Um, but I read Canto 162. Did I live on this one? And not realize that I should be continuing from that one? Anyway, we're going to read it, I guess. Just in case. Sorry if it is repeated. I actually cannot remember. Um it can happen, I guess, or no. Also, can I mute for a second? The microphone is like incredibly bad place. Okay, there it is. Sort of better. Yeah. It seems a little bit better. I guess I should be more around here, supposedly. It works. Anyway. Time to read. I don't know. There will be stuff to say, probably. Will we get to it? I don't know. Anyway, uh, this is the Mahabharata, continuing from Canto 162. Yaksha Yudha Parva continued. When Sampayana continued, O Parantapa, at sunrise, Domya finishes his daily devotions and comes to the Pandavas with Arstisena. The sons of Pandu touch the feet of Domya and Arstisena and pay homage to all the Brahmanas. Then, facing the east, Domya takes Yudhishthira's right hand in his and says, "O great king, Mandara, the king of mountains, is vast and spans the earth right down to the ocean. Indra and Vaisravana protect this place, grace with airy woods, forests, and mountains, my child. The wisest sages who know all about Dharma say that this realm is the abode of Indra and Vaisravana. The Bihas buried in Varna Dharma, Siddhas, Satyas, and the Devas worship the sun as he rises from here. Righteous Yama, lord of all living beings, presides over that certain region where the souls of departed beings go. And this is Sambhyamanam, the abode of the Lord of departed spirits, sacred and wonderful to behold, and crowned with bliss. The all-knowing ones have named this monarch of mountains Asta, and Suya and Surya arrives here, always abiding by the truth. Lord Varuna, dwelling here on this king of mountains, as well as in the ocean, protects all living beings. O blessed one, lining up the northern point is the mighty mountain Mahameru, auspicious and the refuge of those who have attained the Brahman. That is where Brahma holds court. From when Prajapati created all moving and immobile things of the earth. Why? Just like basic observation, but I keep seeing moving and immobile instead of mobile and immobile. Wouldn't that have been like an easier translation? Anyway, I'll going back. And from where Prabhupada created all moving and immobile things of the earth, Meru is the blissful abode of the seven mind-born sons of Brahma, of whom Daksha is the seventh child. This year that the seven divine rishis, the Sapta rishis with Vasishta at their head, rise and said, look at the matchless, radiant. Yeah. Go ahead, I guess. Not, sorry, please. Go ahead. Mm, you really understand. What? Huh? What? What did he mean by that? Is this at all about economy? One wonderful question. I don't think so, but I don't know. Let me at least try to answer. I guess. I wouldn't say that. It's complicated because I actually don't know too much about economics, so my only answer would be along the lines of the issue is keeping things contained within a set boundary makes it hard to properly navigate the situations, and even less in any kind of counter that tries to aspire to anything. It is necessary to have as much multiple points from which things can happen. The moment in which I don't know, economy becomes too focused on just a handful of people, I don't know how to call it, it becomes an issue. So it's a risk, but I don't know. Life is a risk, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, yeah, everything is complicated, but in that sense, I will accept a, a world in which we are more willing to take risks of that sort. It relies more on the capacity to survive the whole changes that might be placed to happen than anything else, I guess. That's my short explanation. I wouldn't say it's like, oh yeah, no, please uh, reopen the economy. No, we can't have that. I don't know, man. I wouldn't say that. But anyway, good luck with asking that to other people, I guess. I don't know. Sorry. But yeah, anyway, I have something to read, so I will rather continue with that. I was in Meru established full abode of the seven mind-born sons of Brahma, of whom Daksha is the seventh child. It is here that the seven divine races, the Sapta races, with Vasista at their head, rise and set. Look at the matchless, radiant summit of Meru, where the Pitamaha Brahma sits with the celestials absorbed in the bliss of self-knowledge. Next to Brahma's dwelling, you can see the home of Narayana, from whom all creation originated, and who has neither beginning nor end. The Rahan, that holy place, is so concentrated with divine energy that even the gods cannot look at it. By its very nature, the abode of Vishnu Mahatman is full of splendor, more brilliant than the sun of fire, and no one can look at it, not even the Devas or the Danavas. This place lies resplendent to the east of the Meru, and it is here that the Lord of all creatures, the self-created creator of the universe, in whom everything is manifested, dwells in a state of illumined grace. Neither Maharishis nor Brahmarishis have access to this place, only Yatis do. Son of Pandu, in his presence here, the bodies of light cannot shine, because he alone, who is beyond understanding, shines in supreme transcendent luster. Here, by virtue of their tapasya and purified by their piety, the Yatis are able to approach Narayana Hari. And, O Bharata, once they reach this place, and attained the eternal God of gods. Hari, the self-creator, these spiritual beings who are free from ignorance and pride, who have attained perfection through yoga, never return to the mortal world. Yudhishthira, this place is without a beginning. It does not decay, nor does it end, for it is the very being of Vishnu Narayana. And, O sinless son of the Kurus, the sun and the moon cir- circumambulate Meru every day in Pradakshina. In opposite directions, the other planets and bodies of light also travel around this king of mountains. The sun god who dispels darkness revolves around Sumeru, obscuring other light-giving bodies. The maker of day sets and passes the evening, then takes an orderly course, always mindful of the welfare of all beings. He turns eastwards again as he nears Meru. In the same way, the divine moon goes around this mountain with the stars and accurately divides the month into several cantos, marked by his arrival at each parava, each full moon. Unerringly does he circumambulate the mighty Meru and, nourishing all creatures, the moon returns to Mandara. The divine Suryadeva, the destroyer of darkness, also moves unfettered on his path, giving life to the universe. When he takes to the south with the intention of causing the rain to fall, winter ensues. And then, when he turns back towards the north, his rays draw out the energy from all beings, mobile and rooted. He makes men perspire, making them tired, lethargic, and drowsy. All living things feel drowsy at this time. From here, moving through the mysterious sky, the sacred sun brings rain and revives the earth. Having nourished all beings with soothing showers, warmth, and winds, majestic Surya begins his course all over again. Kaunteya, with his movements, the sun unerringly turns to Kalachakra, wheel of time, with mastery over all created things. His course is unceasing, he never stops to rest. O Pandava, he takes away energy and gives it back again, and dividing time into day and night, Kala and Kasta, that the Lord the Sun gives life and motion to all creation. Amazing. Also, welcome. Mr. is saying Mr. Fine, isn't it like I don't know. Is it insulting? No, I don't think so, but anyway, welcome. Tired salary man. It's like tired. We are not here to do such, let's say so, yeah. Anyway. Also, okay, do this. It works. But yeah, good evening. I hope that despite your tiredness, you are surviving. Sinceramente insane Nocturne, because everything you just said sounds like the spell they use on that. I mean, I never played anything Sinceramente insane, so I don't know. Maybe if it is to, to some degree hinduistic, it can be, but I don't know. I thought the Shin Megamis were more like based on Japanese folklore. Once again, completely uninformed opinion, so doesn't matter. Pulimpa, Rekarma. Maybe. I mean, I haven't heard. I think. Okay, wait. Page 1574. We can do F3 and then search Pulimpa. Is there anything that Pulimpa? It's also a like 7,000 pages book. It supposedly contains like most words. Supposedly. Except Pulimpa. Karma? It's oh no, it's not. I have to shatter your illusion, man. It wasn't here. It isn't contained here, so we have to experience the discomfort of not finding what we are looking for. I guess, I don't know. Anyway, uh, what? What did he do? I don't know, man. Survive. That's what I can say. I hope that's enough. To some degree, I mean, let's say having options is always worth it. I guess there are always other things. Anyways, even if they don't go that well, at least based on what I have seen, I don't know. The inner drama sometimes becomes too external, but yeah, I don't know. Life isn't that impossible to survive, even if things go badly. Let's say. So that's something, I guess. But is saying good luck good? I don't think so. It's more along the lines of keep up the efforts. Let's say it like that. That's more sensual. I feel like so. Yeah. And I don't know. You're already doing good, so that's enough. But yeah. Anyway, what we are doing is finishing just the first chapter, I guess. The first canto of today. I think it's okay. Next thing is post analysis of what was read. I think it's just tradition more than anything else. It just describes events in that way of, oh yeah, this is related to this deity. That's part of myths. The mythical explanation for stuff. It basically talked about already winter and the four seasons. How weeks ago things happen, even if sometimes there are those times in which there is they have like a proper name, but I don't remember it. This thing where it doesn't rain for a long time, then it comes back. So it's just explanations for things, not nothing really that complicated. And after that, it's just imagery or verbal imagery for stuff. Not much more. I feel like, yeah, I think I can say it now. I feel like to some degree it's just about preparing things for what's coming next. Not really a chapter with content. I don't know. Let's tracing similarities. This is a sort of chapter that you don't really read because it is obligatory. It's just needed, necessary to read because it gives you context, I guess, and that's enough. Well, but yeah. Anyway, hey, I know I saw something. I can't really remember what exactly, but there was like one idea. Ah, yeah. I don't think I can fit it anywhere, so I don't know. Probably, if I remember, or let's say, I will know at some point take a break to it. So after the like we are talking about that, I just have to not forget. Anyway, um, it's Canto 163 now. That was Canto 162. This is Canto 163. Yaksha Yudha Parva continued. Vaishnavayana continued. The noble Pandavas live on this peerless mountain, engaging in the most strange and vratas, enchanted by the place, and diverting their minds while they wait impatiently to see Arjuna again. Many Gandharvas and Maharishis visit these indefatigable ones of the pure hearts, of immense prowess, embodiments of truth and courage. Those Maharajas are delighted with this wonderful place so full of flowering trees, as pleased as the Marutas were when they arrived in Swarga. Great joy they live on these blossom-rich, colorful slopes that resonate with the cries of peacocks and cranes. This peerless mountain, they see lotus-heavy lakes, their shores thick with trees, and haunted at night by Karandavas and swans, his luxuriant leisure grounds, glimmering with gems of many kinds, are enchanting enough. Oh, uh, are enchanting enough to captivate Lord Kubera himself, and roaming at will here, the Tabasvi and Pandavas cannot fathom the awesome significance of the summit, with gigantic trees growing under fleeting clouds. Here, Oshatreya, due to its innate magnificence and the brilliance of its plants and trees, there is no difference between night and day. The sun does not leave this place. He sets his rays of immeasurable energy over everything, nurturing it all. Because they live on this mountain, where Suryadeva always shines to nourish all things, moving and still, those Kshatriyas see the sun rise and set in the same place. The Pandavas are inspired by the rising and setting points of the ever beaming Surya, and their locations on the mountain, and the way the sun's rays fill every little crevice, as well as the expansive cardinal points and all that lies between, they await their brother, the supreme archer devoted to truth. They chant the Vedas, faithfully perform their Nitya karma, and fulfill their holy vratas. They say, let us all be made joyful by our reunion with the mighty Arjuna, and become absorbed in yoga. Although they are in charmed forests, every day seems like a year to them. So intensely do they think of him, from the moment when Damya's leave, Virtue's Hisnu matted his hair and left them to live in the forests, they have known no joy. With thoughts of him filling their minds, how could they know happiness? Even in this most blessed place, they were overwhelmed by grief. From the moment when, at Yudhishthira's command, he knew of the gate of an elephant left for the Kamyakabana. Oh, Bharata, it is with difficulty that the sons of Pandu passed the mountain, thinking constantly of Arjuna Swetabhahana, who has gone to Vasavasa's palace to master the art of weaponry. Arjuna has now lived 5 years in the abode of thousand-eyed Indra, and has obtained astras from all the devas, Agni, Varuna, Soma, Vayu, Vishnu, Indra, Pasupati, Brahma, Parameshti, Prajapati, Yama, Datta, Savita, Tavashta, and Vaisravana. He bows to Indra of the 100 sacrifices and takes leave of him to come to Gandhamadana. Okay, that's first and foremost. That's the whole story. Um, that's what Canto. That's the Canto. Canto 130, 163. Um, I think there is only one thing I can point out. The whole narration is sort of understandable. They are just waiting for someone to arrive, and he did everything that he had to, so he is coming. Basically, that's what we are going to see. Without any other context, that's the most basic, quick rundown of what is going on so far. So, anyway, what is important besides just that is that this one become absorbed. Also, yeah, this one, this like one phrase. I don't know. That's what I think has some potential besides the basic meaning of it. Although they are in charmed forests, every day seems like a year to them. So intensely do they think of him. I think that's the only concept that I can sort of pick up from this. Basic explanation out this thing of always. To some degree, we can all experience time differently, unavoidably, but also there is this universal quality in which, because we tend to work ourselves up about the stuff, sometimes days can feel longer. It's, I will say it's mentioned here as a sort of distress that causes time to feel more than what it actually is. I can say, beyond the most basic interpretation, I think it's also useful to some degree because it also talks about mostly. I think it's complicated because it's mostly very short, but I think the idea that all of this become feels worse just because they are thinking. It wouldn't be, although they are in charge for every day seems like a year to them, so intensely do they think of. Anybody can think about anything, but the point is, thinking itself is what brings moments of this sort forth. It doesn't happen out of nowhere. I will say, I will propose, I guess, based on what I'm reading, I don't think it's just like something that happens due to no reason. It's more of a consequence of. I don't want to boil it down to just worrying and anxiety and whatnot, but once we use the brain for such things, it becomes more common to see it happen in that way and make us experience those sort of distortions, not of time itself, but the perception that we have of time, I guess, and the way that we feel every single day. It's in a normal case, yeah, it comes from a negative emotion, but I also think it can as well be found under a not so bad roots or influences, so to speak. That's also what I want to say. It's like not too much, not compared to the whole. Even Kanto it isn't anything, but I can feel personally it's one of those ideas that is very yeah. We found fire. We discovered fire, and in the way we also discovered how to make things go into fire. No, get fired. No, what's the word? Get get heated up enough to melt. It's like that sort of rapid. Maybe if we say it's just like that, it doesn't seem to matter that much, but it's something with a possibility of deeper meaning, I can say. Mm, yeah, that's my only observation on this one. After besides that, I don't know. I think there is not much more in this canto. I don't I don't see anything else personally. So yeah, that's one sign. That's canto 163, I think. So yeah. We are now into canto 164. Um, Also, no, anyway, time to continue. Um, Canto 164. Nivatakabacha Yudha Parva. Vaisampayana continued. One day, as those mighty Kshatriyas are thinking of Arjuna, they see Indra's chariot, yoked to horses as bright as lightning, suddenly arrive. Matali drives this Bimana that lights up the sky like a great flame, like a meteor flashing down through the clouds. Wearing heaven's garlands and sparkling ornaments, Arjuna Kiriti sits in it. Then Ankaya, equal in prowess to Indra, alights from the chariot and blazes in beauty. Wearing his crown, Arjuna bows down at the feet of Daumya and then at the feet of Ajatasattu. He touches Brikodara's feet in respect, while the twins bow to him. He greets Krishna, besides herself with joy, and then he stands humbly before his elder brother. Great is the delight of the brothers on being reunited with the resplendent Arjuna. He too rejoices at meeting them and praises the king. The son of Preta walks around that chariot from which the slayer of Namuchi annihilated 7 divisions of Diti's progeny in Pradakshina, and honor Matali as if he is Indra himself. Yudhishthira inquires about the well-being of all the Devas. Matali greets him and, having spoken words of advice to them, as a father to sons, he climbs back into the Supreme Vimana and flies back to the Lord of the Devas. After Matali has left, Indra's son, first among all Kshatriyas, the noble destroyer of all foes, gives Krishna, the mother of Sutasoma, unearthly precious gems and jewelry that Indra has sent and which dazzle like the sun. Then, sitting in the midst of those best of Kurus and Brahmanas, he recounts all that has happened. And he's as bright as fire or the sun. He says, I acquired astras from Sakarabayu and Siva himself, and all the devas were pleased with my humility and concentration. He tells them of his stay in Devaloka, and that night Kiriti of the unblemished deeds sleeps contentedly with the sons of Madari. Okay, easy. Eh, that's kind of 164, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't have that though. I mean, I don't see anything here, man. I don't know. It just makes me wonder about stuff. Like, for example, there are so many stories out every single goal. Is there a way to properly see all of those? I mean, every single deity seems to have a whole lore behind them, so to speak. That's the funny event that happens with religions themselves, that deities and all characters get to have, to some degree, written stuff about them particularly. And I don't know, I think it's sort of complicated in the sense that can anybody ever properly get everything that is contained in multiple stories? In that sense of, yeah. And these characters who have their own life, it's learning out entire lives and backgrounds and whatnot. If you had to, for example, main, very main character, obviously, but still, if you had to just talk about someone like, um, what's his name? Indra? If you just have to mention him, it's easy. But if you have to recount all of his story, it is going to take quite a lot more time than most other characters, but still, every every single one seems to have like 100 events that are interconnected. At least that it makes it more solid in terms of narrative, not in the normal sense, but rather in that releases one in which everything is also interconnected. Okay, that's what I was sort of not trying to say, but sort of trying to understand. The capacity to see so many things that might be at a first glance, so many lives basically of people that might be at a first glance incapable of being related at all. Later on, expand on a whole web of relationships is quite a useful thing if we are ever capable of doing something like that, and the multiple opportunities that something like Hinduism brings might as well be better for such ways of, I will say, observing not just the story itself, but also every other story that comes afterwards. It's sort of the eternal training performed for the sake of understanding as many events as possible. That's also to some degree why even the structure of cantos in this case is useful. It's like, for example, what happens with the Bible and how if you were to relate the stuff to one another, basically it seems like there is no what is it like they aren't called bears, I think it is. Every single verse is related to something. There are like five that don't have any relationship. That's what the Bible gets, but this one is every single character is related to one another. There is no character that just exists, I guess, without any other correlation. And even then, the one that does, which was mentioned earlier, this deity, which is the creator of everything else, is directly the creator of everything else, basically. So he is a foundational stone nonetheless. But whatever. I don't know. Is that actually the point? I don't think so. I don't see any point in this canto. Anyway, moving on. Once again, canto 164. We can keep going. Uh, why is there a line? Anyway, we 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 can ignore that, I guess. Canto 106. Also, we haven't lost any frame. Yeah. We're fine. Sorry. Canto 165. Nivatakavacha Yudha Parava continued. By Sampayana said, when day breaks, Dhananjaya and his brothers pay homage to Yudhishthira Dharmaraja. As they do, O Mahabharata, they hear resonant music from the sky, the rumbling of chariot wheels and the ringing of bells, and the wild beasts and birds echo a chorus in their own voices. Hosts of Gandharvas and Apsaras appear in their vimanas from all around and follow Indra, king of the Devas, in the procession. The Lord of all celestials, Purandara, flies down in his chariot, decorated with gold and yoked to incandescent horses, landing near the sons of Preta. He of the thousand eyes descends from his Vimana, and as soon as Yudhishthira sees the exalted one, with his brothers he comes before the king of the immortals. Magnanimous Yudhishthira worships Indra of the immeasurable soul with ceremony that befits his preeminence. Then mighty Arjuna bows to Parandara and stands humbly before him, like a servant. Seeing the pure Dhananjaya of lofty punya, with his matted hair, stand in humility before the Lord of Gods, Yudhishthira of fearsome Tejas sniffs the top of his brother's head in affection. He is overjoyed to see Falguna like this, and feels utterly glad as he worships Indra. The Lord of the Devas says to Yudhishthira, "You shall rule the earth, O Pandava. I bless you with prosperity. Return to Gamyakavana, O son of Kunti, the learned man who leads a life of brahmacharya for a year, with his senses under control and observing bratas, and keeping in mind his meeting with me, will live in unalloyed happiness for 100 years with no anxieties." That's it. That's the whole. Wow. That's Canto 165. Uh, what? What's this random canto? Yeah. I feel like I can say something sort of insulting, but it's like one of those cantos that seems to be there just to provide people with a empty sense of hope, let's say. It's this idea of, yeah. You, Indra himself says, if you remember his words, you will have a peace for 100 years. And since most people live no more than 100 years, in most cases, not even that, um, that means that you will be fine as long as you remember this one canto. I feel it like that. I don't know, man. I might be judging too hard, but that's the sensation that I get, man. I don't know, man. It's something. It's certainly something, but is it what I was expecting? No, not really. I thought it was going to be a better meeting. I mean, it's the God of Gods. No more mentions of him. This little, anyway. Yeah. I don't know. There are a lot of things. Somewhat honorable of mention, like how Arjuna shows progression in terms of properly understanding how it is necessary to give to so to speak, these elders of ours in terms of how he treated Indra when he arrived. Arjuna treated Indra when Indra arrived, basically. And I don't know, we can spend time just explaining the basic idea of, yeah. It's related to how throughout life we get to properly see the necessity to treasure and adapt to perform to the best of our capacities any sort of ritual related in this case to meetings and whatnot. Because it carries not just the main meaning of saying hello to someone, but also shows that we can respect their positions and whatever else that might be associated, as it was said here. Yeah, they are meeting Indra, so he needed quite a lot of effort to be properly saluted, I guess. I don't know. Something. But anyway, besides that, yeah, I don't have much more to add. That's Canto 165, I think so. Yeah, we can move forward. Canto 166. Nivatakavacha Yudha Parva continued. Vaisampayana continued. When Sagara has gone back to his own dominion, Bibhatsu, with his brothers and Krishna, pay obeisance to Yudhishthira, son of Dharmadeva, who lovingly sniffs the top of Arjuna's head. Yudhishthira's voice chokes with emotion as he says to Arjuna, "Oh, how did you spend your time in Indraloka? How did you acquire the weapons? And what did you do to police the Lord of the Devas? Pandava, have you not gained a thorough knowledge of the Astras? Did Indra and Rudra give them to you gladly? How did you see the divine Shiva, the Pinakin? How did you get the Devastras? How did you worship them? What service did you perform for that worshipful one of 100 sacrifices? That he said to you, "You have gratified me, O radiant one. I want to hear about all of this, as well as how you pleased Mahadeva and Indra. Tell me also about the service you rendered to the wielder of the Thunderbolt. Then Anhaya, tell me everything. Arjuna says, Mighty king, listen to how I saw him of 100 sacrifices and the divine Sankara to O Parantapa. I acquired the Astra Shastra that you instructed me to learn when I went into the forest to perform tapasya. From Kamyaka, I went to the Brigutunga and spent one night there. When I sat in Dhyana, the next day I saw a Brahmana who asks me, Son of Kunti, where will you go? I told him everything that had happened and he was pleased with me. He praised me and said, Bharata, perform your tapasya and soon you will see the king of the devas. I climbed to the top of Mount Saisiram in the Himalaya, where I began my austerities. For the first month, I ate fruit and roots. The second month, I took only water. During the third, I fasted. And the fourth month, I stood with upraised arms. I am amazed that I did not lose any strength. Rahan, at the end of the first day of the fifth month, there appeared before me a being in the form of a boar, digging the earth with his tusks, stamping his feet and rubbing his belly on the ground, and running here and there in a frightful way. Following him came a hunter, a Betala with bow and arrows and a sword, and he was surrounded by dark and beautiful women, and the one at his side was especially so. I took up my bow and my two inexhaustible quivers, and I shot that terrible boar. Simultaneously, that hunter raised his bow and struck the beast even more forcefully, making my heart tremble. Rahan, he said to me, why have you broken the laws of hunting by shooting a beast? That was my quarry. I will crush your pride with my arrows. That great black Betala rushed at me with his bow stretched. He covered me completely with his arrows, even as a cloud does a mountain with rain, and I enveloped him with a shower of my own shafts. I recited mantras and shot flame-tipped barbs, piercing him as Indra would have cleaved a mountain with his Bhara. The Vetala multiplied his body 1,000 times and 1,000 times, but I pierced them all with arrows. Then again all those forms merged into one. Oh, Bharata, and at once I struck it. He began changing shapes. Now a small body with a huge head, and now a huge body with a small head. Finally, he took his original form and came at me, ready to fight. Invoking devoted by a Piastra, the weapon of the wind god, I affixed it to my bowstring. Amazingly, even this weapon had no effect on him. With more vigor, I covered that hunter with a profusion of mighty astras. I inundated him with the weapons of Stunakarna, Varuna, Salabhya, and Asmavarsha, but Rahan, he swallowed them all. When all those had been consumed, I loosed a Brahmastra at him. Arrows of light and flame spied over him. He began to expand. The world was in the grip of that weapon, and all the points of the compass were lit up by its brilliance. But that hunter frustrated even the Brahmastra. Orahan. When Brahma's weapon was squalled, I became afraid. I took up my bow and my two inexhaustible quivers and shot at him again, but he devoured all those arrows as well. And when he had subdued all my weapons, he and I wrestled. We fought with blows, but I could not defeat him, and fell bewildered and senseless on the ground. That wonderful Betala laughed delightedly and vanished before my eyes together with the woman, and my Gandiva and my two quivers also disappeared. Now that godlike hunter assumed another form, unearthly and wearing shining raiment. He renounced the form of a hunter, that Devadeva, and took his own divine form, and that god stood there, with his goddess beside him, the divine one, whose emblem is the bull, who wields the pinaka, who wears gold serpents for his ornaments, and who can assume any form, appeared before me, Wituma, Parantapa. He came towards me while I was preparing to fight on, and the bearer of the trident, Trisulin, said, I am so pleased with meeting you. The Divine One held up my bow and my pair of ever-filled quivers and returned them to me, saying, Ask for a wound, O son of Kanti. I am delighted with you. Tell me, what shall I do for you? Kshatriya, tell me your wish, and I will grant it. Other than immortality, I can give you anything your heart desires. I was intent on having the Astras, so I bowed down to Shiva and said, O Divine One, if you are pleased with me, grant me this. I wish to acquire mastery of all the weapons that the gods command, the Devastras. Lord Triambaka of the Three Eyes said, So it shall be. Pandava, my own weapon, Raudra, will always await your call. Now, Mahadeva gave me the greatest of all astras, his own Pasupata, and having bestowed it, said, This must never be used against mortals, for if it is loosed at one of a small strand, it will consume the very universe. It shall be used only in a desperate predicament, when all your other weapons have failed you. Only then you may use my Pasupatastra. When he that uses that insignia of the bull had been gratified, there appeared at my side the master of the irresistible power, which can consume all other weapons, kill any truly mighty enemy, and raise hostile armies. It is without equal, and even the Devas, Danavas, and Rakshasas cannot withstand it. At Shiva's command, I sat down there, and even as I gazed at him in adoration, they got vanished. Okay, that's Canto 165, I think, or 166. Yeah, 166. To some degree, I remember also having partially mentioned the stuff about this before because this is just a quick rundown of the whole narration of how Arjuna and Indra fought, basically, and how he proved himself to be worth it. But the real important thing is a little bit beyond that in terms of the inexhaustible nature. Now, I remember having read just the fight, the issue, or the combat logs. Okay, that doesn't allow for such an observation as how it was presented here. Because here the language is more along the lines of how this god, I guess the most important one of them, to some degree, is to a certain degree something that has no match. It's this idea of standing there being unbothered by everything that seems to me something important, something worth mentioning. Trying to say it in a different way, mostly also because it's not just that it happens, but that it happens with even some of the, in this case, objects that we have also heard were more important than, not more important, more capable of affecting reality itself, so to speak. It's can I say this? Is that a reasonable assumption? To some degree, you could say that Indra mm, can even be matched with the idea of truth, while everything else that does not get through Indra does not get to be called true, because it is only what can withstand or what can affect him, what gets to lay on that realm of reality, so to speak. It's complicated because I think there is something in this one. There is a point. The issue is being capable of expressing what it also contains. But it's something. It does have something. So yeah, I can say this one. This kind of feels very satisfying, I guess, and also unavoidably challenging. That trying to explain what I see. But yeah, that will be it. I guess I don't know. I should. How much? First question. How much have we been going? Only 1 hour? Man, I felt like two. Uh, so yeah, we might as well just read like two more, and after that, I will probably try to take a break. Probably, but yeah. This one was full. Anyway, continuing. Canto 167. Nivatakavacha Yudha Parva continued. Arjuna says, Mahabharata, by the grace of Devadeva, god of gods, the Paramatman Shiva, I spent the night in that place, and when day broke and I had finished my morning rituals, I saw the Brahmana whom I had seen before. I told him everything that had happened about my meeting with Mahadeva. This pleased him, and he said, since you have seen the great God, which no one else can do, you will soon meet Vaisva Vaivaswata and the other Lokapalas, and the Lord of the Devas too. And Indra will also grant you Astras. He said this, O king, and he embraced me again and again, and the radiant Brahmana went away. Parantapa. That evening, a pure breeze began to blow and seemed to renew the earth. Near where I was, at the foothills of the Himalaya, are at once fragrant, lovely flowers began to bloom. All around me I could hear an enchanting chorus of hymns being sung in praise of Indra. Hosts of Apsaras and Gandharvas sang to that lord of celestial hosts. The Maruts and the followers of Mahendra and other Swargavasis, heaven dwellers, came in their divine Vimanas. Soon after, Indra Marutaban, accompanied by Sachi and all the immortals or immortals, appeared in chariots yoked with elegantly caparisoned horses. He, that is, carried on the shoulders of men, manifested himself in front of me. I saw Yama seated in the south and Varuna. What? And Varuna and the Lord of the Devas in their respective place. They greeted me and said, Sabyasachi, look at us seated here. You have been granted this vision of the Lokabala so that you can perform a task for us. Now receive our astras. Lord, I bow to those foremost of the Devas in reverence and took those divine weapons, upon which they accepted me as one of them. Then the gods went back to the place from which they had come. The Lord of the Immortals, the divine Maghabat, ascended his glorious chariot and left, saying, Falguna, you must visit Devaloka. Even before your arrival, I knew that you would come here. I manifested myself to you, O best of the Maharajas, and because you have purified yourself with ablutions in many holy theatres and strengthened yourself with unflinching austerities, you will gain admittance to the Valoka. You will have to practice severe penance again, for you will have to stay there for a time as a mortal. I have told Matali to bring you to our world. And the devils and great races have already granted you recognition. I say, Divine One, you look kindly on me. I wish to learn the Astra Shastra and beseech you to be my guru. Indra replied, My child, you will achieve terrible feats with the Astra Shastra, but I will fulfill your desire to acquire this knowledge. Interesting line. To this I said, Oh Lord, I will never use the Devastras against mortals, except when all my other weapons have been repulsed. Therefore, King of Gods, grant me the Devastras so that I may attain the realms reserved for Satrayas. Indra said, Then Ankaya, it is to test you that I said these words to you. You are my son, and your reply becomes you. Go now, Bharata, to my abode and learn all the weapons of Vayu, Agni, Devasus, Varuna, Temarus, the Siddhar, the Brahma, the Gandharvas, the Ragas, the Rakshasas, Vishnu, and the Nairitras. Learn to use all the astras that are mine as well. O perpetuator of the house of Guru. Saying this, Sakara vanished from where he had stood. Then Rahan, I saw the fabled and sacred chariot of heaven arrive, drawn by unearthly horses and driven by Matali. When the Lokapalas had gone, Matali said to me, Oh, splendid one, the king of the Devas wants to see you, mighty armed. Achieve supreme competence before you perform your task. Come and see the realms that can only be attained through Dharma, and enter heaven in your human body. Bharata, the thousand-eyed lord of the celestials, wishes to see you. I took my leave of the Himalaya by walking around the mountain in Pradakshina and climbed into the magnificent chariot. The generous Matali, expert Sarathi, drove these steeds, gifted with the speed of thought or the wind. When the chariot began to move, he saw that I sat steadily and, looking at me in wonder, said, I find it wonderfully strange that although sorry, I find it wonderfully strange that, although seated in this divine Vimana, I have not stirred even a little. Maharatotama, I have seen that, at the first pull of my horses, the Lord of the Devas sways where he sits, but you have sat unshaking all the while? In this, you are greater than Sakra himself. Matari soared into the sky and showed me the realms of the Devas and their palaces. The horse-driven chariot flew up, and the celestials and the sages of heaven worshipped it. Manabotama, I saw whole worlds moving anywhere at will. I saw the grandeur of the Tehasbins, the Gandharvas, Apsaras, and the Varishis. Sakra Sarathi Matali showed me the Nandana and other magical gardens and groves of the gods. Then I have beheld Indra's city, Amaravati, adorned with jewels and shining kalpa brikshas, trees that bear any sort of fruit that one desires. The artisan is not hot. No one is affected by heat, cold, or fatigue. Rahan, the gods feel neither sorrow nor dispiritedness, nor weakness, nor apathy. Parantapa, those who live in that place have neither anger nor greed. All are perfectly contented. There, the leaves on the trees are always green, the branches laden with flowers and fruit. The fragrance of lotuses pervades the numerous lakes. There, the breeze is cool and delicious, fragrant and pure, and invigorating. The ground is strewn with all kinds of jewels and with divine blossoms. There, countless exotic beasts and birds live, none of our world. I saw the Vasus, the Rudras, the Satyas with the Maruts, the Adityas, and the two Aswins, and I worshipped them. And they gave me their blessings, granting me strength and prowess, energy and fame, skill at arms, and victory in battle. Then I entered that fabled city, so loved by the Gandharvas and Devas, and with joined hands I stood before the thousand-eyed Lord of the Gods. Sakara, ever generous, offered me half his throne, and Basava put his hand on me in affection. Thus, Mahabharata, with the intention of acquiring astras and learning to master them, I began to live in Indraloka. In the company of Devas and Gandharvas of bountiful souls, Basa's son, Chitrasena, became my friend, and he imparted the entire body of Gandharva Jnana to me. I lived happily in Sagara's home, well cared for, having all my desires gratified, learning about the astras, listening, listening to the divine songs and music, and watching the most alluring apsaras dance. Without neglecting to study the arts, which I did carefully, I devoted my attention to the acquisition of arms, and that the Lord of 1,000 eyes was pleased with my sense of purpose. Living in Devaloka, O king, thus did I pass my time. When I mastered the Devastras and gained the confidence of Indra, whose mount is Ravas, one day he said, "Now even the gods themselves cannot conquer you, let alone the mortals of the earth. You have become irrepressible in strength and invincible in battle." The hair on my body stood on end as Indra continued. "Oh, Kshatriya, you have no equal in battle. You are ever vigilant, dexterous, truthful, and you have your senses under perfect control. You are the protector of Brahmanas. You are a master of weapons and warlike. But I have obtained the 15 great Devastras, as well as the 5 ways of using them. You now stand alone and without any peer. You have perfected the skill of releasing these weapons and their withdrawal. You have perfected the Parayaschita, the revival of harmless beings killed by these weapons, and also how to revive the Astras themselves if they are rendered ineffective. Now, Parantapa, that I have come for paying the Gurudakshina, promise to pay, then I will tell you what you have to do. Rahan, I said to the king of the Devas, if it is in my power to do what you ask, consider it already done. At my words, Indra smiled and said, there is nothing in the three worlds that is beyond your power. My enemies, the Danavas, called the Nivatakavachas, live in the depths of the ocean. There are 30 million of them. They are dishonorable, all identical to look at and equally strong and splendid. Destroy them there, Kaunteya, and that will be your Gurudakshina to me. Saying this, he gave me his resplendent Vimana, with Matali driving it, and Kashan with down as soft and lustrous as peacock feathers. This exquisite kirita, this crown, on my head, and gave me glittering ornaments like his own for my body. He gifted me with an impenetrable armor, the best of its kind and comfortable to wear. Then he strung the Gandiva with his everlasting bowstring. I set out in that marvelous chariot from which in days gone by the king of the Devas defeated Bali, the son of Birochana, our ruler of men. Startled by the rumbling of the Rata, all the celestial ones came out, thinking that I was the Deva king. Seeing me, they asked, "Oh, Falguna, what are you going to do?" I told them everything, adding, "I will go into battle, auspicious ones. I am going forth to kill the Nivata Kavachas. Give me your blessing." They began to praise me in the same way that they eulogized Purandara. They said, riding this chariot, Maghavat conquered in battle Sambara and Namutsi and Balambritra and Pradala and Naraka. From this Vimana, Mahabharata has vanquished thousands of millions of deities. O Ganteya, riding in this chariot, even as Indra did long ago, you too shall conquer the Nivatakavachas in battle. Here is the best of all conches. Sakra used it to conquer the worlds, and blowing on it, you will also triumph. Saying this, the gods offered me this shell, the Devadatta, born in the deep, and I took it for the sake of victory. The gods began to extol me then, and impatient for battle, armed with my conch, my armor, my bow and arrows, I flew towards the sinister home of the demonic Nivatakavachas. Very cool. Also, incredibly long. Uh, I wasn't expecting to read like 5, 6 pages in a row. How much is this? One, two, three, 4, 5. Only five. Yeah, only five. But very, very intense ones, I guess. I I never expect that when I get to read and I find out that yeah, this is a lot heavier than what I anticipated. It's something, I guess. I mean, that is sort of the unfairness of this stuff because it has a lot of meaning. We can try to spend a lot of time talking about what means something here, but I don't know. Also, internet is lying. I will choose to just go with what was on the very close to the beginning. This one, there it is. This is the only thing I will mention from all of the areas. My child, you will achieve terrible feats with the Astra Shastra, but I will fulfill your desire to acquire this knowledge. I think it's quite a wonderful line. It's literally just one line, but it's wonderful enough. It's There is an idea about how we, to some degree, need to fail. We are obliged to see failure, to experience failing, so to speak. And that's not much more than that, basically. In this case, it's even the god of gods himself, basically talking about how this guy needs to fail or needs to sin to understand that he did wrong. And that's, I don't know if the word is good, useful, or what exactly, but it's something. And yeah, that's quite a lot, I think so. But yeah, I don't know. The question is, how long are I going to be? These threads are not that long, and yeah, I will be. I would rather be honest. I wasn't expecting to be reminded of so much stuff from the past. This is like a lot of the whole story is finally getting put together. It's like a master quick rundown of what has happened in like at this point half of the book so far. So it's like remembering 700 plus pages is quite complicated. Not because I cannot remember, but rather because everything reminds me of the whole story itself. These narrations, it's a lot of text, man, and yeah, I I have to be honest. I don't personally feel like doing that. I think that we are good as we are so far. We can continue each other way. I guess this only counts, I don't know, as half an effort of trying to read, but yeah, uh, it's too complicated to be capable of continuing like I would have wanted to myself. Maybe, let me see. Let me do like a fast overview. Yeah, yeah. It's all going back once again on these stories already told and already seen and whatnot. Arjuna just retells what happened. And what I said before, there is something very amazing in getting to see a different wording of stuff from the same events or for the same events. And that's, on one hand, it's useful, but on the other one, it's complicated because it's getting confronted with a different alignment of reality, so to speak, a different mode of understanding what happened. The first narration is just the event itself. The second one adds the other layers, in this case of the spiritual reasons and the whole sense of the compressed ideas and all of that, and it becomes a sort of display of interconnectivity of things, but it is still very heavy. And more than anything else, also very taxing and I don't know, yeah. I can lie. We can stand here for 5 hours if we must, trying to find anything to say about every single one of them, but no, it's it's just too much. At least for today, it's too much. So yeah, we will continue reading next time, I guess. But that's it for now. That's it. Uh, I guess I should save the page. Let me let me do this. 1 second. Uh, Copy this also. Did I copy that? I did. Supposedly copy something. Okay, there it is. Yeah, yeah. There we go. I have it saved. So yeah, I don't know. Until next time, probably. Tomorrow we have a bar. So yeah, not here for the normal stuff. Besides that, everything else also. Probably on Sunday we will be here in the normal format, I guess. We will have to see. Anyway. Good night, guys.